Hello and welcome. I'm Terry Lyston, President of Dynamic Workforce Solutions. I'm your host for this episode of Dynamic Words, a brand new series brought to you by Dynamic Works Institute. We've all been inspired by countless dynamic individuals we've encountered. Dynamic Works is our way of bringing these incredible voices to the forefront. This podcast is more than just a series. It's a platform for thought leaders, change makers, and innovators to share a little bit about themselves, their career path, and their leadership style. And so I'm thrilled you've decided to join us. I'm excited to introduce Mimi Kunin. She is the Chief Operating Officer for the Coalition for the Homeless of Central Florida. Her journey is a testament to the power of her dynamic word, which is transparency. I can't wait for her to share her insights and experiences with us. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and motivated as we uncover the power of words in leadership and life. So let's dive in. Hi, Mimi. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Terry. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Tell us about you and a little bit about your career journey, how you ended up where you are with the coalition.
What a ride. I mean, if we first start, one of my first jobs I always like to say was a mannequin model in a department store, if you
Oh,
can believe
no.
it. I was actually
Really?
one of those people who would stand there in the clothes and or in the front window, depending on where they would place my 17-year-old self, and sit very still and model the clothes, but I would always mess with the kids. And when the parents said, "She's not real," they go, "But mommy, she is real."
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
So that was fun, but professionally, as I got some education, I worked with my husband in our own business of an auto repair and car rental and got to work with the public a lot. And then realized working for yourself never ends. You are constantly on, that business is going, and it just, with 5 kids, it just didn't quite fit in my life. And I wanted to be really transparent with that decision of just saying, you know what, I need something new. So I hung my shingle out and got into the world of workforce development and entered that as kind of a sales rep, letting people know in a certain grant, certain niche project that turned into a career of over 20 years in workforce development. So work through all the different roles of grant management, project management, youth development, and worked my way up. And again, decided, it's time to do something new. I want to challenge myself again. I want to be scared again.
Mm.
And so it was really nice to be able to have really clear conversations with my current CEO at the time and say, if I don't switch now, I'll probably end my career doing this. And I just think there's blue skies ahead and something else. So that's how I landed. I took some time off, thought about it, and just applied and was using my own advice that I was giving people in careers to now be that career seeker and try different things. And so I got this job at a nonprofit that's in town, and I could not be happier. I am
I
just using all these skills in this job, and who knew? Like, I couldn't have scripted it better. It's
it
just a
was
really good fit for me.
it was what it was supposed to be. I love when you said that you wanted to be scared again. I think that's such a great quote. Kind of leading into transparency, I find it interesting. You went right up to your boss and said, "Hey, I need something. I need something different." And that boss was mature enough to say, "I'm going to help you get there." I love it. So tell me, why did you pick transparency? You had all the words in the world and you picked this one.
Because I think it's one people feel could denote weakness. I'm too transparent. I got to have my game face on. I got to have my career face. And I've just navigated my life in being very grounded and very transparent. When I'm mad, I'm mad. When I'm disappointed, I'm disappointed. And when I'm struggling or feeling that I was kind of in a career um, treadmill in a way, it
Mm.
wasn't bad. I was happy. I loved the industry and was so appreciative of all the things I've learned in it. But yeah, I wanted something a little more. And when you can be comfortable in the uncomfortable and be transparent, kind of put yourself out on a limb and say, I don't know that you're using me to the best of my ability, and I don't know that I'm as happy as I can be. What can we do together? It was just great to have a leader that walked the talk and supported me in considering other nonprofits and giving me a wonderful exit ramp
And
to
what a
exit from
gift.
that career.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
a gift. I remember very well when I met you, you were kind of in that space. Um, Sort of that soul searching, career searching, what else can I do with my life kind of phase. And it's amazing to see where you've landed. As you went through that process, I think one of the things that people find interesting is you're a COO right now. You're in the C-suite, lady. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people look at folks that are in the C-suite and say, well, she was born into the C-suite. This is just where she's always been. But I know the journey is different for everyone. So if you had to talk to us a little bit about how you relied on transparency, even before the word transparent wasn't cool, um, can you give us an example of how that shaped your career a little bit along the way?
One of the big things that transparency was a start and stop for me was formal education.
Mm.
I had a family young, so I didn't finish my formal education. So when you are trying to move on in your career, I think the only time you're looking at those things is at a new job or a new pivot point. You're looking at formal education and credentials. And I didn't have them because I put my kids first, but I made a commitment that by a certain birthday, and I won't tell you what decade, I committed to getting that degree. Um, and I did. And being transparent with the employer I had at the time of how important that was to me, that if we could negotiate um, tuition reimbursement, understand that I'm going to go to class, that I want to do more because my expectation is to learn more and be more valuable to my employer. It worked. I mean, you put your cards on the table. So while it's a little scary and, kind of makes your stomach twiddle a little bit, should I really reveal all this? It's worked to my benefit. I think people appreciate people who are straight, transparent, and very clear with what they want to do. And so that the education, getting that degree, and then telling new employers, I only recently got my bachelor's degree. I think again brings a little street cred because I didn't have to, but I wanted to, and it served me well. And that's what got me in the I call it job, because now
Uh-oh.
you're able to handle all the things that happen in the organization because you've navigated the different positions, but you have the formal education to back you up. And you've just now put all that package together. And that's kind of the spot I found myself in. And it's just really fun and scary and exciting all at the same time. Been a good fit.
And if life has changed, I just saw an interview that it was about music. That's one of my passions. And they were
Mm.
talking about how Jelly Roll, I don't know if you know him, he's a country music artist, started his career and became the best country music artist of the year at the age of 39. And I'm like, that's awesome. That reinventing yourself is so important. Here's what I think is amazing about your story. I do work with people who are lacking a few credits or just a little bit of extra to push them over the edge. No one's going to give you the street cred you got from your 5 kids. Let's just be real. That's a project management. You
Oh,
launch a
that's awesome.
project every couple years with those young people that are your children, but I really do admire that and not being ashamed by that, to say this is what it is and this is what I'm willing to do. That's fantastic. When you work with leaders or future leaders or people that aspire to be a what'd you say? Uh-oh.
No, COO.
I'm gonna use that. Um, and they ask you, what's in your toolkit that makes a difference in the way that you serve as a leader? And you say, oh, transparency. Tell me why you would tell them that's a key for their success.
Because I think a good leader has to be approachable. And when you put up walls or status or title or process, and you start putting yourself at arm's length of things, I don't think you're doing yourself or the business you're working for any favors. Um, None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. There's going to be hiccups and things and decisions you make. And I always default back to, I made that decision with the information I had at the time. Had I new information, I would have thought about it this way. So I think being transparent in knowing that you got to give yourself a little space and grace in how you operate and be able to let people understand you can ask questions of me. You can push back on things I might say, this is a great idea, and I think we should proceed this way. I want teams that I work with to be able to come back and say, well, have you thought about this? Where there's an unintended consequence here that you may not have thought of. Then let me pivot. Let's debate, but then let's come to consensus and agree. So that's why transparency spoke to me, because I just felt when you're open and clear with what your intent is, what you want to do, I think it bodes well, it garners respect, and it makes people comfortable in their roles. Because if you put kind of clear definitions around what's expected of people, they'll amaze you, they'll do it. It's that gray area where you don't know what's expected, or that's not what I thought you would do. I like to give clear, transparent directions or insight or strategies, and articulate those. And it has proven really well for me. That's been able to work well when I've watched other leaders kind of struggle and say, well, I don't know why I didn't get that result of that employee, or that employee is not working effectively. And I have not had that problem with that employee. So it's just, I don't know, it's just resonated with me.
Wow, really well said. So thank you for tuning into this episode of Dynamic Works and our dynamic words. It has been an absolute pleasure to explore the impactful stories shared by you, Mimi. And I want to thank you for your time and insight today. As we wrap up this conversation, we hope you leave feeling inspired and empowered by the power of today's dynamic word, transparency. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues or with anyone who might just need a little inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to the series for more compelling discussions with outstanding leaders. And until next time, keep embracing the power of words. This is Terry Leiston from Dynamic Works Institute, signing off from Dynamic Words and saying stay dynamic and stay inspired.